Do you think it's better to admit that you walked through the wrong door than to spend your life in the wrong room? It's an interesting question because people usually are ashamed that they went through the wrong door. They have too much pride to admit they made the mistake of going in the wrong room. So they just accept life the way it is. Well, I did something 30 years ago that I never thought I would do. And then I did something 28 years ago that I promised myself I'd never do again. 28 years ago, I got married. Today is my 28th wedding anniversary to my wonderful wife. And I say wonderful wife because I have to admit, I can't take credit for this marriage lasting 28 years. She has been very loving and patient and loving. I, at times, have put her through a lot. Oh, I never ran around on her or beat her or anything like that. Just a grumpy old man. You know, my dad said I was 60 since I was 6. So if there was ever anybody that people would classify as an old soul, it was me. But she's worked tirelessly to try to make me happy. She spent a lot of sleepless nights worried about my happiness. 30 years ago, I got divorced from a woman that never spent any sleepless nights worrying about my happiness. She mostly was concerned with how much money was being generated, and we had significant rental property. We had built up significant wealth. But when the day came that I recognized that I had walked through the wrong door and I'm now in the wrong room, after a bunch of soul searching, I decided that I can't stay in this room. What she wants out of life is money, more money. What I want out of life, just a wife, a house, a white picket fence, and a calm life. No more drama. I had enough of that when I was 18 through 28. Nothing but constant drama. Nothing but problems. Nothing, nothing but troubles that I brought on myself for the most part. So 28 years ago, when I asked this lady to marry me, and she said yes, I was kind of surprised myself because I'd promised myself I'm never going to do it again. Never, never. Found myself in the wrong room, but it was my own doing. I went through the door. I walked through the wrong door and I was in the wrong room. And I got that straightened out, and now I'm living my life by myself, and everything's the way. An interesting thing happened. We were dating, and I told her, I think, things are going too quick, too fast. We need to slow down a little bit. And she just got up, put her coat on, got her purse, and she said, okay, I understand. And she stepped out my front door, and just as she turned to walk away, she started crying. And it broke my heart. So she went on cruise with her friends that she had planned long before. We didn't talk. She went on her cruise, and I realized sometimes the gifts that God gives us are not wrapped the way we expect. Sometimes the greatest blessings that He gives us look nothing like what we pictured in our head. So it was already set up that I was going to pick her up from the airport. So I picked her up and we had a pleasant conversation. I dropped her off at her apartment. I came home and I thought, this will be cute. I sent her an email. Now you have to remember, 28 years ago, emails were like, not like now. So I sent her an email and I asked her to marry me by email. Well, we met online, so it kind of fit. But she said yes. And then the next day we got together. I thought I was being cute, unique even. I was dumb. The moment she called me, she didn't email me back. She called me. I wish she was right there. I wish I had done it when I dropped her off. But I thought this would be cute. See, men don't always get things right, ladies. We sometimes think we're being clever and cute when we're not. But she said yes anyway. She stuck with me for 28 years. And she stuck with me through some of the leanest time I have ever had. She stuck with me through some times that I didn't know if I was going to live to the next day. She's been there. By admitting I went through the wrong door, I had to admit I was in the wrong room and leave that room. And it's the only way that the right door opened for me and let me in the right room. I can honestly tell you I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that lady. But the point that I was trying to say, besides the bragging on my wife, and I'll always brag on her, is that don't stay in the wrong room. Just because you went through the wrong door doesn't mean you have to live your life in the wrong room. And it applies to so much more than just marriage. I know so many people that are in jobs that are so unfulfilling. They hate it. They get it. The last 8 years I worked at the steel mill, I hated it. It I was almost in tears every day going to work. But I stuck it out because the plan was 8 years there, I retire. And it gave me almost $1,000 a month pension on top of what I had. So I was preparing a pension, and that pension goes to her after I'm gone. That was really the only. When I retired, they said, "Well, you can get like 200 a month more now if you." No, 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 no. The whole point was to get something for my wife. That was why, even though I hated it, I did it because it meant financial security for her in the future. And let's face it, if I'm still around and she's financially secure, I get to be. She used to refer to her friends as that I've got to go make lunch for my meal ticket. And I used to say, well, I got to go. My sugar mama's going to be looking for me. You don't have to live that way, folks. And I know I sound kind of preachy sometimes, and I don't mean to be. I'm sorry. It's just that I know We get into a rut in life and we don't see a way out. And there is multiple ways out. And there's so many good people on YouTube. I try to come up with a gem or two now and then, but there's so many really good people on YouTube that'll give you all the tips in the world for making a change. 10 steps for how to change your life in 10 months, whatever the title is. Embrace it. If you are in the wrong room, take a breath, make a plan on how to get out of that room and how to get into the right room. Because let me tell you, 30 years ago, I was in the wrong room. I was wringing my hands trying to figure out what to do. What's the right thing to do? And now today, for the last 28 years, I've been in the right room. Not because I didn't join a dating service. I didn't go out there trying to. When the right woman comes along, well, the best way I can put it, recognize God's gift, even if it's not packaged the way you think it should be. You're expecting a blessing to pop up, and you have a certain idea what that picture in your head, what that's going to be. And it's almost never that. I could never have been as happy with what I thought might end up with than with what I've got. So the question you have to ask yourself, if you're stuck in the wrong room, how much more do I want to stay in the wrong room before I decide to make the change and get to the right room? Well, only you can answer that. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and share button if you would, please. Help an old man out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.